Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Hallis. I'm a music writer.
And I'm Jim Love. I'm a keynote and motivational speaker.
And when we don't have amazing guests on, like we've had like last week, yes. Today is one of those times where we don't. Mm-hmm. We talk about the things that people go through with our Hustling Sideways projects. I just had a stroke there for a second.
That went well. Yeah. Are you okay?
I think I'm fine. And we're in the middle of summer festival season.
Yeah, everything's been wild.
I've honestly wanted
been drinking for 9 hours, and now we made it to a show.
So I gotta hide the high noon that's by me. No, we talk about people's side hustles and their passion projects.
We do.
And the things that they go through and the things that we go through with ours as well. Today we are talking about when it is appropriate to use your expertise to kind of give your input, especially when you know that a situation might benefit from it.
Yes, and it stems from, really, I would say, like, so if you have a client or I have a client and they're asking you to do a service for them, or anyone here with a client, and like they are clearly don't know what they're doing. And so sometimes I'm just like, sure, I'll do that and just be amenable to whatever they want. And other times I'm like, no, I should probably like speak up. And after a long time of doing it, then you realize, hey, like you know, like this is your area of expertise. This is what you know what to do. So this stemmed about 2 weeks ago. I was having a conversation with a conference, and this conference wanted me to do a couple things for them, and they laid out the schedule, and the schedule was just like not conducive to what they wanted. And I could just tell like they were going from this to this, and that flow wouldn't work from this to this, and like it was after lunch, and they wanted to do this, and it was just like
they wanted you to give like a 4-hour talk.
Right, like, yeah, exactly, yeah. So like I could just tell that the thing was just not going to work for what they wanted. And I spoke up and I was like, hey, would you mind if I shared kind of my experience or thoughts? And they were like, please. And I shared it with them. And within about 10 minutes, they changed up their whole schedule. And they were like, he's right. It's like, this is what we should do. So it's one, and I didn't expect that, nor did I like demand it, but it's what they decided to do. So in the past, 6-7 years ago, I would have been like, sure, that sounds great. Like, let's do that. And then I would have just like dealt with the crappiness of the day. Yeah. And that sucks. Like, that's like not fun to go into something and be like, man, the way they set this up is not going to be conducive to having a good day. So I found like that moment, I was like, I remember in the back of my head, I'm like, should I say something? Should I say something?
Yeah. And it's always hard too when you're like contracted out, right?
Exactly.
Like, you're technically, you're working for them.
Yeah. And so I always ask, I'm like, would you like me to share some of my experience with this? And some are like, oh, sure. And then, whatever, I could tell they're not listening, but the others are like, please, like, help us out. This one was a please help us out.
Okay.
And I did it, and within a few minutes, I was like, this is, in the last 10 years, how I've seen it go. After you do this, maybe you should think about that. And we changed everything. And then actually, I was hired for more than what was anticipated before. I was just supposed to do one thing, and I was now doing two things, and that put my rate up. Like, as a result, I was like, oh, great, like I could do that. So it's not, of course, that led to me, doing more. But I think generally, when you're really good at something and you have passion for it, you should share that.
Yeah.
You should tell people like 1,000%. What it is in a respectful manner, where you're not like, hey, you're wrong, pal.
Right.
Like,
well, I lead all my emails with, hey, you're wrong, pal.
Of course. That's how I start them. That's how you should. Yeah, that's natural in the corporate world. But I that popped up where I'm like, yeah, like how many times does that happen where I just sync up to what they wanted, even though what they want is probably not going to be right, and I just have to deal with that day not being the best day it could have been, or I share my thoughts on what this should be, and maybe they follow, maybe they don't, but at least I put it out there.
Right, and you get a feel for at this point how it's going to go.
Right.
Like you've been
right away.
I can
tell right away. Yeah. I'm like this is going to be a great day, or I'm just going to have to like get through it. Like one time I was speaking to all freshmen, I just had to get through it. Other times I'm with a bunch of leaders, and I have a great time. So you know what it's going to be, and you never really know what the crowd's going to be until you actually get there. But I could tell by the day whether or not it's going to be like awesome, fun-filled, or I got to like totally fake it till I make it for this group. So,
yeah, for sure. Now, in my world, it's a little bit different, but I will tell you that there is definitely one time where I had to step in and be like, no, this won't work. We were going to do a show, and it actually ended up being shut down because of COVID. So it never really materialized.
Well, I guess that worked out.
Yeah, honestly, very thankfully. I was co-promoting it with somebody that wanted to install like a catwalk from the stage and like as an extra thing. And they weren't really aware that a catwalk, renting it, one, either is going to be hard to get installed into a venue and like put in even for a one night.
Yeah, they don't already have one. So yeah, that's...
and two is expensive. And they weren't thinking about the expense of it at all. They just knew that they wanted to do it, and really kind of for a very selfish reason. So they were because they wanted to go walk out on this catwalk and like see the crowd.
They wanted to do it. So, okay. Yeah.
in my experience, I've definitely been to shows where there's been like a makeshift kind of catwalk thing set up, but it's been something that the venue was able to accommodate for, or something that they like was like a riser that they already had.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking about like the profit and loss of doing the show, so they were like, well, I'll just pay for it. I'll just pay for it to come, get installed, and they weren't consulting the venue at all. So one, like the people that run the building could have said no, and then you're out the money for renting it.
Yeah.
Two, if nobody shows up to that show, like you always have to plan for the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
If nobody shows up to that show, now you've just sunk money into this big thing. And three, even if it does go well, that's the kind of thing that it's so expensive that it probably eats into your profit entirely.
It almost levels it out, right?
Right. Yeah, you're at best going to break even on that show.
For what value does that bring? Yeah.
So I had to step in at one point and say, look, I know this is what you want to do. I know that this is your vision for this sort of thing, but it's something that doesn't make sense financially to accommodate in here. And like sometimes I will have artists that will ask for that. They'll be like, hey, I want to do a show, or I want to do a release party, and it'll be at like, but how do we do it in this room that is way too big for what they what they can afford?
How do we pull it off?
For like, or they'll be like, yeah, I want to do this. Let's say you're an artist and you want to do a show at Turner Hall Ballroom.
Yeah.
And you only have like 200 or 300 people that listen to you that really like what you do. Turner Hall Ballroom is a 750 person room. Like, I have to respectfully at that point come in and be like, Jim,
this is probably maybe not.
I just don't think this is going to be the venue that's going to work for you. Oftentimes what I end up doing is finding a venue that I think is more the right size or the better fit. And that helps. And I've done that before for other bands and things like that, where they wanted to do a certain release show at a very in-demand venue. And I was like, well, if you do that, it's not going to be the day that you want. It's not going to be the whatever. Like, so really just it's kind of that thing of being like, I hate to break it to you, but
this is the story. Yeah.
But oftentimes, more often than not, when you've done things like if you put on shows for as long as I've done, or when you've given talks for as long as you've given talks, you just know what is going to work and what is the best fit.
Totally. Your gut is correct.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, if you like it, what you do, you've been doing it for a long time, you're passionate about it, you're probably correct. Now, they may not listen, and that's okay. That's a risk you got to take. But I think it's 1,000 times better to share it and then not listen than to not share and just roll on with what you're doing. Yeah. And I learned that a little while ago.
I'm all in favor of people that want to punch up and want to try, take risks and try things.
For sure.
But if you want something to be a guaranteed success, sometimes you have to use the expertise for sure.
Yeah, and that's why you have it. That's why you like doing it. But don't be afraid to use your voice in those situations where you're like, oh, like this may not work. Like it's like the airport. If you see something, say something. If this isn't working, like go for it. And
by the way, you want to watch this bag that I'm going to leave unattended?
Yeah, that's right, unaccompanied. Yeah. One time I got in big trouble. I went to the bathroom at like a gate and I came back and the guy was like, "Whose bag is this?" I'm like, "I'm here."
Oh no!
Like I put it, and that's my backpack.
Oh no! You left it unattended.
My goodness!
You did the thing. Well, that's a story for our other podcast. So
maybe we'll talk about that in the next show.
That's for our other podcast, This Week in TSA Dilemmas. But in the meantime, let us know if in the comments if there was ever a time that you had to step up and speak up and use your voice to make some changes and what you did and how you did it, because we want to know.
We do.
So in the meantime, we are the Hustling Sideways podcast. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. I know how to say it this time, not like the intro of this show.
You're good to go, man.
And we are on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of the places.
All of the above.
So you can catch our episodes with guests on Milwaukee as well. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, you can send us an email at Alan at Hustling Sideways.
Tell them that one too.
Yeah, no, hustlingsideways@gmail.com. And Jim.
Or click the link in our bio on Instagram.
There we go.
Keep on hustling.
See you next week.
Peace.